Maybe the problem isn't in my pants. Mex-Men.
No countdown, huh?
No.
That's what I learned in broadcasting school. Is that instead of one, you point.
Every once in a while, I forget you even went.
That's because I don't use it for anything, except for editing the podcast.
Yeah, because you just say 3, and then you count 2 on your finger and point with the last one, right?
Yeah. You have 5, 4, 3.
Is that where is that where people go to learn radio voice, though?
No, they tell you not to do that there, actually.
That is crazy, because it seems like everyone just goes and does it.
I think the main colleges is where they tell you to do that. I went to,
just the colleges in Maine?
yeah, where white people roam.
Because it's all white people with those voices.
I'm just thinking of
Well, good morning! Welcome to WKRCP.
God, I wanted to punch you in the face just then.
That's how they. Welcome to the morning zoo.
But I'm just imagining free-range white people, because you said that's where they roam. So there's just pastures of white people, just walking around.
That does sound like
picking up grass.
Yeah, you just pick out your favorite one. Take them all.
That's actually any small town where there's a cherry picking festival.
Yeah.
So welcome to this issue of Mex-Men.
Oh, God damn it.
I'm Tony.
I'm Justin.
I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be going over Amazing X-Men issues 1 through 5. The whole story of Nightcrawler in heaven with a hidden person who can
summarize
speak
it right
into
now?
people's minds.
Yeah. I forgot that it was so...
Bad.
You didn't like it?
No.
Okay, so I
Hold
remembered
on.
it...
We found something Justin doesn't like.
Which is weird, because I remembered it being bad, and then rereading it, I was like, oh, this isn't nearly as bad as I thought it was, or that I remembered it to be.
I remembered it being good or acceptable.
Oh.
And I've read this. This is my 3rd time reading it. It's the first time I thought it was bad.
Maybe it's because you read it too many times.
Maybe
Because I thought it was kind of good. So maybe the first time you read it, it's kind of good. And then it's real good the second time you read it. And then it's bad the third time you read it.
So you're saying it's the Carter 3?
No, because the Carter 3 was the 3rd one, and it was good.
Oh, no, I know. But you go back.
It's the Carter 4.
Listen to Amelie again, and it's like,
oh yeah, it's real bad. The Carter 3 is not good anymore. It was good when it came out.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, we probably sound old right now. Because anybody who's under 23 right now listening is probably like, what's the Carter 3? Or who's the Carter
3? What happened to the first 2?
The first 2 Carters aren't important, except for Vince. That was
Or
a sports joke.
Aaron.
We'll go over Aaron Carter. That's your contribution to the Carters is Aaron.
Yeah.
So I got to clarify, though, it wasn't bad. There was just quite a few bad parts.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was always weird that I thought the timeline was jumbled, and then rereading it, I was like, oh no, they actually did a decent job labeling the time structure, so it made more sense. Because I was always like, how did Nightcrawler have so much time to do all this stuff? But they say some time ago, and then they say now, and
What was kind of, and I also assume that, they said time passes different in heaven.
Yeah, but I mean, just the fact that they labeled the time change, and I wasn't remembering that they were labeling the time change.
What was just kind of weird to me was that out of all the X-Men, the most relatable character in this, at least how it was written, was what was her name? Starfire?
Firestar.
Firestar. All right, Firestar. I'm gonna edit that. So
yes, Starfire is.
I knew it was DC, but it's the same name.
Only not.
Basically,
it's backwards.
Yeah.
But she was it's weird that the person we see the least is your entrance into the story.
Yeah.
Was the Luke Skywalker.
Which is also weird because I don't think she actually ties in much in Wolverine and the X-Men, but maybe she goes on to be more active and amazing. I don't remember the rest of the run that well.
I mean, I think Wolverine and the X-Men would be ending not around this time, but pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Because Wolverine,
Oh, another thing too. I forgot.
Ticking down.
I forgot this was written by Jason Aaron. So there's also that. So I don't know
Yeah,
if
because
this
he was
goes
writing
in
Wolverine in the X-Men too, right?
Yes.
I don't know if this goes in a win category for him or.
Yeah, there were for at least a
an
little
L.
bit. There,
was
at
an
this
L.
point, there was 5 X-Men main titles going on. Because there was Wolverine and the X-Men, X-Men, Amazing X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, and All New X-Men.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of X-Men.
And only 2 great books.
And Uncanny
Out of those.
Avengers is also around this time too. I don't know if it's ended by this point or if it's still going on.
No, it's still going on.
Yeah, so that's technically 6 X-Men main books.
I don't think it really ends until Axis, maybe.
Yeah. Goes for a while.
Because
Then they
that's
start
when
volume
Havoc,
2.
Yeah, that's when Havoc becomes a villain.
Yeah, but he already
Which
got
is
like
at the-
fucked up by that point.
That's the end of this run. Got the Wolverine and Axis.
So, yeah, you
So,
want to get into...
Yeah. Well, it starts with kind of a flash, like a quick flash.
Not Barry Allen.
No, like a flashback on Kurt's life to the point of his death, like just introducing the character in a kind of a cool way. So it's like all these different art panels at different moments, and interesting that like the last panel is him dying in Scott's arms, and like Cyclops has nothing to do with this book at all.
And there's no arm in his chest.
There is no arm in his chest. Yeah, they probably took it out. It was like, yeah, it's rude.
They just pulled the arm. But, like, the position that Scott's in implies he had just found Kurt and was going, like, no!
Yeah.
So it's weird that they, like, found him, took the arm out, and then we're like,
No,
And then patched up his chest.
Yeah.
Scott, do your thing.
And
Because it's
he's,
kind of his thing.
and he still is, like, holding on the entire time. Like,
And also, all right, so it goes into Kurt in a cloak sitting on the edge of a cliff looking down, and he's in heaven, and he's sort of brooding about the fact that he's in heaven, and it's fantastic and it's beautiful, but like he's bored. And then someone else in heaven who oddly enough has like red hair and green eyes, but it's short hair and it's like obviously not Jean, but it's just a person who looks like that. And she's like, hey, you know, it only gets even more amazing the further you go in. And he's like, yeah, I haven't brought myself to go in just yet. And
it's, like, implied that staring out into the plane that he's seeing, that is, like, looking back into the real world and looking back on your life.
yeah, just sort of like longing for like the whole idea that like he's expected and waited and like planned to go to heaven in a way that none of that sounds quite right. That he's like anticipated going to heaven because he's Christian, so everyone believes believes they're going to heaven.
His whole life, heaven was just this great, hard to achieve thing, and now he's finally there, and he just can't enjoy it. He just misses his life.
Yeah, and I think because there are thought bubbles or boxes rather this entire arc, and they're so good in this one part, and they're not so good in the rest of it. But yeah, so he's sitting there, he's brooding about having to deal with being in heaven and how bored he finds himself, and then suddenly it's attacked by demons.
Yeah, pirate demons.
Pirate demons.
Demons that...
Swashbuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wash demons. No, that didn't work.
Swash him.
But he kind of gets excited and leaps into action because it's the first piece of excitement and first piece of his old life that he's had in a long time.
Yeah, and
Since 2008.
which is weird. Well, even in their timeline, it's been at like about a year.
Yeah.
Right. So for about a year in heaven, he's just sort of sat on a cliff.
It's been long enough to where they're like, yeah, he's dead and he's gone.
Like he was there long enough to go and like get the robe.
I think they
The
just give it to
complimentary,
you.
the complimentary
Yeah, it
robe.
comes
Like
with
you're
the
in
robe.
heaven. Here you go.
You definitely get that at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're like, take off your slipper, take off your shoes, put on slippers. Here's your robe. Welcome to heaven.
no, but he has his shoes, his
Yeah.
slippers underneath his shoes.
And he's wearing his old school costume too. So it's like you get to pick like your favorite thing, what you want to like wear in heaven, I guess, like under your robe.
Of course you do.
That's cool.
Yeah, because it's not what he died in.
No.
So yeah, he just had a set of clothes with him.
He had to go home and pack.
Yeah, when you die, you have to pack first.
Or like Styles in heaven are like, 2 seasons older.
Yeah, they're
He
Canada.
hates it, but he's got to wear it.
That's why he couldn't bear to go in because he's like, fucking fashion hasn't caught up yet. I'm gonna give him
I'm
some time.
embarrassed.
Oh no. So then
Yeah. So
Poppy comes along.
Yeah. Turns out that these demon swashbucklers are Azazel's demon swashbucklers, because who would have thought that?
His pirate hat in this is really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm just noticing how cool it is, and I really like it.
Because it's like a devilish pirate hat.
Yeah, it's like a
Pointy.
if like Voltron was a pirate, and that was his hat.
Yeah, and like so a whole flying pirate ship is just at heaven.
It's like Mario all over
demons
again.
and stuff. Yeah.
That is, I never even thought about that, but yeah, it is just like any boss level in Mario.
And he realizes like this is too much fun. This is like the one last adventure I was hoping for. And I really liked, because those thought bubbles where he was talking about like, this is the story of me falling from heaven or whatever. And then at the end, it's like, and this is how I fell from heaven. Or if I'm going to be like more specific, or like I jumped, and I was like, oh, that's so cool.
And this is
That was some good dialogue there.
Who cried a river and drowned the whole world.
Also, Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says, and this is the story of how I fell from heaven. Though I suppose, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't fall at all. I jumped.
I like that he's like, he's falling from heaven, and it like stops, and it goes into that movie moment where it's like, I bet you're wondering how I got here. The cape rewinds.
He becomes Deadpool.
Yeah.
So
It looks like he's about to kill a red Bamf. He's like, I jumped. It's more like I murdered this dude and got kicked out.
yeah, that is a thing too. You see red Bamfs for the first time.
If there's anything I know about the Bible, is that they love killing babies in it.
Well, those Egyptians.
That's the only thing you know.
That, and they hate women.
Those Jezebels.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, cut to Firestar is walking up to the Jean Grey School of Mutant Excellence and Superiority.
That sounds soup's racist. And I mean like that comic where Superman like tells Lois Lane he wouldn't date her if she was black. Like that kind of racist. That is a comic.
That happened?
Lois Lane, she turns black because, they used to do stories like that. And then she becomes not black and is like, hey, would you still date me if I was black? And he's like, let's talk about something else. He changes the subject so fast. So that's what I meant by soup's racist.
Oh, I recently found out Oreo's racist.
Yeah, I saw your thing on that, but you didn't take into account that they have extra most stuff Oreos.
No.
They're the same.
They're both double stuff.
Yeah.
But the white Oreos had more cream filling.
Take down big
Are you
Oreo.
twisting this, though?
No. I did a compare and contrast.
As far as Devin's concerned, Oreo canceled.
Yeah, but that was with one sample.
I ate
one
all of them.
sample over there.
It's a whole pack, bro. I'm not even sort of playing. Like it, I thought it was bizarre. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Why were you
all these
eating
Oreos?
two separate Oreo colors?
We just happened to have one pack, and then we went to the grocery store because pandemic. All the Oreos are gone, so all they had were thin Oreos. Who the fuck buys those? Mint, the chocolate ones, and that just seems like you're doubling down, right? Chocolate cookie and chocolate frosting.
They should do a crossover with Marvel for Thoreos.
And then they had one pack of the white Oreos, and I was like, oh, well, that's got to taste about the same. Also, doesn't. Regular Oreos, way to go, all the time.
Yeah,
the white Oreos,
it's the
that was
chocolate.
also just
it's
like
the chocolate.
vanilla on vanilla.
You got something that was no chocolate.
I know.
And you were like, those taste the same, right?
But then the other one was chocolate and chocolate, and I couldn't do that because that's too much.
That sounds bad.
Yeah.
You made a bad choice.
Well, this is how I learned that Oreos are racist. No one really knew because no one buys those white Oreos. Anyway.
Maybe that's why they put more cream in it, to be like, to reward you for being
Please buy these.
Yeah.
And what's funny too is that they were even more crackerish because they were brittle. I kept breaking. Anyway, so Firestar gets to the school because she's supposed to start teaching. Like she picked up a job as a teacher there.
I feel like no one invited her though.
It does seem it's even worse than that because she
was clearly invited.
Yeah, and then they acted like they had no idea who she was when she showed up.
Yeah. So
that's like some shit that Kanye West was
She is literally dissed by Storm. Like first, like she's greeted by the defense system of the danger room, which is quote unquote everywhere.
The danger doorbell.
Yeah. Because the danger room is the entire campus. And it lets her in, but not without like pulling Wolverine claws on her and lasers and whatnot. It's like, oh, that seems like overkill. Also, how weird is it that like
That they have Wolverine claws on the...
an Avenger has to take a job as a teacher?
I
feel like she's not getting like Avengers must not pay well.
No.
Like you got to take a teaching position.
At this point, Tony Stark isn't funding the Avengers.
Oh,
Deadpool is.
oh, so there's mismanagement in the in the funds.
Yeah, that's
For
why
sure.
Deadpool is on the Avengers right now because he's funding them. So yeah, that would explain a lot of why she had to take a teaching job.
Yeah. So that's so funny. Anyway, the Danger Room is like, okay, you're who you say you are. You can come in, and she gets in, and she's trying to ask like
Well,
where
she's
to
like,
go.
it can't be that weird at the school. Right?
Yeah, and then it's all suddenly the weirdest. Wolverine and Storm, they come walking past. They're clearly banging, and she tries, but they're arguing because, and she tries to like interject to ask like where she's supposed to go because she's never even been to the school, let alone know where she's supposed to teach her class. If there's like an orientation or something beforehand, and Storm's just like not now, like just like kind of yells it at her. Because Wolverine apparently took an entire class to go see a Kung Fu movie marathon during their finals exams.
Yeah. And I just want to point out, Devin's not assuming by some context that maybe Wolverine and Storm are banging. He says, "You're tense, Aurora. Maybe we should finish this argument in the showers." And she says, "It's second period. I have an ethics class to teach." And he says, "I'll skip the foreplay." And she says, "No, you most certainly will not."
Yeah, so they're banging.
They're banging. He's not assuming some shit.
Yeah, no, she's saying we will bang. There will be foreplay, just not as soon as you want it to be because ethics.
It's gonna be all foreplay.
Also, you ever notice it's always ethics class?
Yep.
Like, that's the class they always bring up in a situation that seems somewhat unethical, or like somewhat tense, like a teacher's teaching ethics.
Well, because it was just what Emma Frost was teaching, but now she's gone, and now all of them have to teach ethics, and none of them are qualified because they're letting Wolverine be in charge.
Yeah.
Well, I would let Storm teach ethics.
I mean, maybe. She's also
She's
got
only
like
stabbed
a
somebody like
crazy
once,
ego,
right?
though. She considers herself a goddess. That's like crazy ego.
Yeah.
Like that's like what my one issue with Storm is like she is too egotistical. She's great in almost every other way, but like she legitimately thinks people should worship her.
No, she does not.
She does.
She's nowhere near Wolverine's level.
She gets a hell of a kick out of it.
She just says, "I'm a goddess," because people called her that. Wolverine's the guy over here. I'm right. I'm never wrong.
It is great though.
Yeah,
in this that she's made useless like right away, and because she does talk about being a goddess and stuff, and then they go into hell, and she's like, "I have no powers. I can't help at all."
Yeah, turns out no weather in hell.
Yeah, it can't rain. Too hot, it evaporates.
But you know what? I actually like that part because it shows that like she's actually like it's one of those things. She's actually a really strong character who just it's the ego thing of like she's got such an immense power and rarely has to show how strong as an individual she is.
Yeah, well, she's
Whoa.
Omega level.
She's had no powers for multiple times.
No, I know, and those moments are always great. But I'm saying like she's got like a huge ego because most of the time she has immense power and like really digs it. Anyway, so she gets dissed by them. She's kind of ignored by Iceman and Warbird because like Warbird's like trying to bang Iceman now. And
So hard.
yeah, and I love that like you can't just barge into my room. She's like then Warbird tells Iceman, then don't leave it unlocked. And he's like, it was locked. She's like, a locked door doesn't burst down with only 2 kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She like
Look.
And I want to point out we're recording this episode on National Horny Day.
Is that a day?
Yeah, today is National Horny Day, and a lot of this book kind of goes along with that.
Oh yeah, because I mean even Dupe seems to be like
He's trying to fuck a tree, right?
Trying to fuck a tree or something. No, he's just like she's just thrown off because Dupe, who I mean if you don't know, is basically Slimer from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, pretty much Slimer.
Yeah, and he's just yelling at a tree that is Krakoa, I think. and so that just throws her off too. And then fucking what's his face? North Star blast past. He's the only one who's even remotely nice to her.
Yeah, he's the only one who actually
Acknowledge.
He runs at her at 1,000 miles an hour and acknowledges her more than everybody else did.
Yeah. And then,
I like that Rachel Grace gave Angel a headache.
Yeah.
She's yelling at everybody to get to class, and he like starts talking back. He's like, "Oh, why's my head hurting?"
Yeah, she threatens everyone that if they're not in class, they're all gonna get a migraine. And then he starts talking back, and he's like, "My head's hurting." All of a sudden, that's pretty funny.
But he like wasn't talking back because he's not Warren right now. He's just Angel.
Yeah.
So he's saying like, "Oh, you're all precious seedlings" and all this stuff.
Yeah, he was being too nice to him.
And then there's a Beast. She finds Beast, but Beast doesn't want to talk because he's just enraged because he's going to kill them all. And who he's talking about are the Bamfs, who the X-Men have never known what the Bamfs were or what their deal was since they started the Jean Grey School, but they just knew that they were there ever since. And they were like, oh, well, they seem to be harmless, and they remind us of Nightcrawler, so we'll leave them be.
And he's being real loose with the genocide jokes, considering how mad he is at Scott.
Oh, yeah.
And how judgmental he is.
But that he's going to kill them all because coffee. Because that's the joke.
They stole his coffee maker.
You're real cranky when you don't have your coffee. Apparently, even Hank McCoy becomes more of a bitch when he doesn't have his coffee.
And she achieved the impossible, being more of a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, apparently he named the coffee maker.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll cover.
It's just only a
something
friend.
that we like
That's what it is.
Maybe. I think we did a little while ago.
It's older stuff.
Yeah.
He was cool in Dark Phoenix.
He was alright in Astonishing.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
man, lately he sucked.
Yeah. I mean,
Even in Astonishing though, or no, you're saying Whedon's Astonishing. I was thinking,
yeah.
Because in
But
the
tail end
other
of
Star
New
Wars-
X-Men, he was bitchy and also claiming to be gay just to like dig at some reporter chick.
Yeah,
Classic.
Yeah.
classic Beast.
Which is like one of the highlights. One of the only things I look back at that run and I'm like, that was kind of
It's
fun.
the only thing I can remember him doing.
Is like him claiming that and literally everyone going, dude, you're not gay.
I
And
remember.
he's like, you don't know.
I remember.
Have you seen me fuck a woman?
I remember that, and I remember him how fast his swerve on Emma Frost was, because he was like, oh, everybody hates Emma, and he's like, well, I like Emma, and then it seemed for a second like she might be a villain, and he's like, I knew it, I always hated that bitch.
Meanwhile, he was trying to like romance her and whatnot, and he's claiming to be gay.
That's
like,
because
dude,
Scott-
pick a lane.
Scott has banged her, and he wants whatever Scott.
Well, no,
anybody
he
Scott
hadn't
has
yet.
hooked up with.
He hadn't yet. Only psychically.
Yeah, but still, that's enough for him.
All right. So anyway, they find Beast's coffee maker, and it turns out that the Bamfs did take it, but they've been taking technology for a while now from all sorts of places, and they built this weird portal thing. And then Beast calls a bunch of X-Men over to be like, all right, so we got a portal here, and we're trying to figure out what it's for, because apparently these Bamfs are smart, and like, because at this point they've only ever said the word Bamf, why they were called that, and whiskey because cute, you know. And I think Marvel just wanted to have like a plush toy, and they were like, let's come up with a thing, and so Bamf.
Although they didn't sell any,
Oh, they had to have. They had to have.
I would have bought one.
There must be like Bamf plush toys out.
Like on Etsy or something.
Otherwise, that is a crazy like missed opportunity.
Yeah, I would agree.
'Cause-
That's like a Baby Yoda right there.
Wolverine and the X-Men was a pretty successful book. That was big. I mean, I think they even made that because they had that Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon. Because I think the cartoon was out before they did the whole schism thing.
Wasn't I figured it'd be after, but I don't know. I haven't seen the Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon.
Oh, anyway, so they're all there trying to figure out what's up with this portal, and then Firestar's like, so, I mean, I got a physics class to be teaching. Can someone, like, point me in the direction of where that even is?
I think she's teaching ethics, actually.
No, she's actually teaching, like, math or something.
She's the
Like,
only
she's
one
the one
who-
not teaching ethics.
She actually learned so because she's the only one out of all of them that didn't go to a school for mutants.
Yeah.
So all of them know ethics, and that's it.
And then, like, Warbird gets all in her face, like, you better not be trying to fuck Bobby. And she's like, what?
She's like, he's fair game, sis. And, like, does the snap.
Yeah, she says he's her mating partner.
Yeah. So a lot of like pretext to sex in this episode.
Yep,
or
National
in this
Horny
issue.
Day. Totally.
Yeah. And suddenly the portal activates. We're like, it's running, and then Beast's like, all right, I cut the power, so it should shut off. And it doesn't shut off. And it's like, oh, these little things, they like made it so that it's pulling power ambiently from around. So I gotta like shut the power in all of the fucking tri-state area off to cut the power from it. And then before he can, it sucks some of the X-Men through it. And Wolverine and Northstar end up in like this heavenly place that they don't know where it is yet, but I mean, spoilers, it's fucking heaven. and they're like, this is weird. There are no like Northstar just starts flying around. He's like, there's no people. And then Wolverine's like, and there are no bugs.
Yeah, he says it doesn't. He doesn't hear bugs or smell a man.
Yeah, and then pirate demons show up, big old pirate ship, and that's the end of Amazing issue 1.
Well, they do say on the pirate ship, because it's one of the pirates yelling out, "Stand with your precious blue elf and be lost forever." And Wolverine's like, "Blue elf, you don't think?" It's
Yeah,
like,
that actually
Wolverine, we do think.
That happens a lot, actually. Especially, like, specifically with Wolverine. Like, references to Nightcrawler that aren't directly, like, Kurt Wagner or Nightcrawler.
That'd be crazy if this book had nothing to do with Nightcrawler.
Yeah. And he's just like,
It's
it
a
can't
different
mean.
blue elf.
Yeah.
They can't mean. It couldn't be. No way.
Nobody can finish
It's a legitimate Christmas elf.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just blue. He's sad. He's not even the color.
It was an elf who was taken off the shelf. He's just blue about it. So, Amazing X-Men. I almost said Spider-Man. Issue 2.
Because they shouldn't have named an X-Men run Amazing.
Yeah. So, Storm, Iceman, and Firestar, they're in hell. So, like, the vortex just pulled people into the afterlife and didn't care where it dumped them. So, apparently the Bamfs, not actually that good at technology.
Yeah, they're pretty shitty at it.
Yeah. So they suddenly realize, like, okay, we're in a really fucked up area. And then Storm's like, oh, like, I can't use my powers because no weather in hell.
Yeah. And Bobby's, like, steaming.
Yeah. And then they see, like, an army of demons sort of coming at them. And they're like, yes, we're fighting an army of demons. And then they also notice that there's a river of blood, like, right behind them. It's like, so... yeah, we're just stuck.
Yeah, they're like, all this stuff is pirate themed. That's
weird. Well, right before that, like, so the pirate ship shows up, and then the demons just sort of bypass them, and it actually turns out to be a fight between hell demons and pirate demons, and they're like, wait, what? So it's not even our fight, and then Storm decides, never mind, it is our fight.
Yeah, because
and we'll just take them both on.
There's either, like, just some afterlife army or, like, Nightcrawler put together something. They're not really clear on where they came from.
That's Azazel's army,
it's
and then
Azazel's
the
army.
hell.
No,
the
his
demons.
army, but what they're fighting.
No, they're fighting Azazel's.
They're fighting themselves?
Yeah.
No, Azazel's fighting demons.
Azazel
Well,
has...
then, yeah, that was the group I was talking about that you're correcting me. I knew about Azazel's army, obviously.
No, Nightcrawler's army is the X-Men, but that doesn't get revealed until book 5.
I'm sorry, but you just said army?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
You slipped into Kermit there for a second.
So anyway,
they were fighting the army.
Storm's being pretty badass with no powers.
that's what all I was saying. She is badass.
Swinging a mace around and shit.
But I like her more when she doesn't have powers. When she has powers, she's kind of an asshole.
Well, it's one of those things. Well, I guess never mind. I was going to say she'd be too overpowered, but so is Bobby, but they like to pretend he's not
Oh,
all the time.
Bobby's powers are insane.
Yeah, we'll see in a second.
Yeah. So they just decide, demon's a demon, we're fighting all the demons. And Storm makes her way up onto the ship while Firestar and Bobby are still just fighting normal hell demons. And it cuts to Wolverine and Northstar, and they're fighting pirate demons in heaven.
Yeah, which it's super obvious that because they have a main pirate demon, and it's super obvious that it's Jack the Ripper, and they don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Because
I'm Captain Jack.
Yeah, he's Captain
But
Jack.
not Sparrow.
Yeah, he's Captain Jack, and he says, like, I haven't seen this since my days in Whitechapel. And,
Yeah.
like, he makes a reference to killing Mary. It's like, dude, we get it. you're Jack the Ripper. Why don't you guys just say he's Jack the Ripper?
Oh yeah, later, like when he's fighting Wolverine, and he's like, "You hear voices too? The voices in my head told me like put her heart in the fire or something." Like,
Yeah.
oh, Jesus. Yeah, it is weird because because later you get obviously Captain Billy the Kid
Yeah.
and Captain Caligula, who like doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Like, he gets no
Captain
panel
Caligula
time.
with his shitty superhero name.
But like, yeah, well, I don't know why they didn't want to call Captain Stabby Captain Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, because they do call him. What was they were talking about the fight between them.
Yeah. So there is kind of a gay joke that happens, right? Like North Star is like flying around and is like, "This has always been a fantasy of mine, fighting pirates like while flying and stuff." Like, Peter Pan reference.
Yeah, it's like he's acting if they have the guy has a hook on his hand.
Yeah, they have a captain with a hook, and he's like, "I don't know about hooks, but I got these knives."
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Captain with knives.
Yeah, because Wolverine pulls out his claw and he's like, "Mine are bigger."
Yeah.
But that's when they say, "Did you meet this guy yet?" Sergeant Snick meets Captain Stabby Pants, and that is officially our song we always talk about, "Stabby Stabby."
Yeah.
That's gonna be by Sergeant Snick and featuring Captain Stabby Pants.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to say.
We
It
can get
is.
up.
I'm all mush mouthed right now.
Just so horny. Because of the day.
Yeah. I don't know why that would make my. I mean, maybe your mouth gets all mushy when you're horny.
All right, I want to stop this. So, cut to
Captain Billy the Kid.
Captain Billy the Kid fighting Storm, and then they overpower Storm because no powers, and they just kidnap her. They're like, "All right, well, we got this one. Time to sail away." And this is one of the...
She smacks an eyeball out, I gotta say.
Huh?
She swung that mace and smacked a dude's eyeball out of his head.
Yeah, she's badass.
Yeah, that's pretty
That was very dope.
Yeah. So they start sailing off, and Firestar realizes, like, oh no, they got Storm.
Yeah.
And
Billy the Kid has 4 arms for some reason.
6 arms.
Does he have 6 arms?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 6 arms.
I just see 4.
6. He's got 3 pistols on his left, or revolvers on his
Yeah,
left side.
there's 3 on each side.
They always draw it weird,
Fucking
so
weird,
you can't
yeah.
see like all 6 at the same time.
Because it's a pain in the ass, man. I'm currently drawing a comic with people with 4 arms, and it's...
Everybody has 4
I
arms.
know you were going to say... I knew it right the moment after I said it. But anyway, it's a pain in the ass drawing the extra arms.
Is it the hands?
No,
Or
it's not the
hands
hands,
suck?
actually. It's the positioning of the arms, because it's boring if everyone's arms are always just down at their sides at all times. So you got to have like each arm gesturing, and then trying to figure out a way that makes sense for all 4 arms to be gesturing.
Just
His middle fingers on the second, too.
Just say they're Italian.
So anyway, Firestar realizes that they're leaving and they have Storm, and then that Bobby is like barely hanging on because of the heat of hell, and so she takes him and she flies away. Meanwhile, Wolverine is fighting Captain Stabby Pants, and then starts hearing a voice in his head while he's like literally walking the plank. So it's crazy that like Captain Stabby Pants is like forcing Wolverine onto the plank in the first place, and kind of knocks him down, and Wolverine catches himself, and he's hearing a voice, and it's taking him for fucking ever to realize it's Xavier.
I know, it's so
It's like, how do you
obvious.
not know the voice of Xavier, especially if he's done this to you like so many fucking times?
Was
That prissy
disguising
fake British
his voice?
accent.
He's like, I'm going to speak with a Russian accent, or I'm going to be Irish to try to confuse Wolverine.
It's like they were trying to build up to a reveal, but like it was obvious. They revealed it early on in a panel, like you saw Xavier, but like Wolverine still hasn't pieced it together in his own mind till so long after that. And just like, so Xavier keeps telling him like, listen, when you realize where you are, don't fall. Don't fall. The moment you know you are where you are, don't fall. You're in heaven. And then he gets knocked off the plank. And he's like, I just told you. But like they build up to that, like Wolverine has never thought he'd be worthy enough to see heaven.
And
so
he's not.
finally
He's just thrown
saw
there
it.
by accident.
Yeah. So like I get that. And then North Star chases him down too. And then cut to like Nightcrawler. Like it's been referenced a few times. that like Nightcrawler is around, you know, like Captain Stabby Pants calling him the Blue Elf and stuff, and they tell Wolverine like, oh, he's dead, and then you see Nightcrawler at the end of this issue, and he's like, time for us to go get a ship, and he like, you know, he sees a ship off in the distance, and you assume like it's Storm's with Captain Billy the Kid. But here's what I don't understand. North Star can fly super fast. Firestar can fly, I mean, at least as fast as someone can run, I'm assuming. Maybe faster.
It should be faster.
Should be faster. Ships sail slow.
Yeah, but these are flying ships.
Still moving slow. Big old ship. And these are flying people. How can Firestar not reach the storm, I mean, the ship Storm is in, when that's obviously where she's going? Because they're like, oh no, they're taking Storm. And how can North Star not grab Wolverine real quick and then go back to the ship? Because neither of them end up back in the boats they were just in.
Well, why? Even then, when they're stuck down, he doesn't just grab them and fly back up. He runs everywhere and he's like, I don't know.
That I can understand, right? Because it's like the nowhere. So it's like, it could be endless. But like, the ship is right there, though. Like, you were right. Like, oh no, Wolverine, I gotcha. All right, we're back on the ship. Like, like it is literally right after Wolverine falls, North Star flies down to get him. It should have been done in like seconds.
Or maybe like Xavier.
He overcompensated, ended a mile away.
Or maybe Xavier, you know, instead of going in Wolverine's head and distracting him, maybe going to Azazel's, or not Azazel's, but Captain
Jack?
Captain Jack the Ripper. Go into his head and maybe freak him out a little bit, distract him from the fight.
It's like, oh, wait, this is another voice. What's going on?
Yeah. So many voices.
Yeah.
So we skipped over Super Iceman, though.
Oh, yeah, okay. So that does happen. My bad. Well, first, too, Iceman, like, a demon just bites Iceman? Like, just starts, like, eating him? Like, because they're like...
He's a snow cone.
This dude's just, yeah, he's a snow cone. And it's hell. Like, that has to be, like, kind of refreshing, right? Like, you're in hell for what's supposed to be an eternity, and then one day, a man made of ice shows up.
Oh, man.
How is
that's
that
like
not,
prime
like,
real
a
estate.
little blessing? You know?
But I think, like, since it's hell, as you're, like if he shot, like, an ice thing at you, and you grabbed it, and you went to put it in your mouth, it, like, melts as you're about to put it in.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking the Iceman thing happens in the next issue. But, yeah, that was pretty dope. The whole, like, he literally freezes hell over.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a moment, too, like, later, where Captain Billy the Kid says something to, like Storm says something, and he's like, when hell freezes over. And it's like, ha, just happened.
It's like, oh, yeah, it did.
You missed it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he shows how powerful he is, and then we're going to forget it the rest of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just, like, knocks him out.
Well, it's later succeeded by a dumber thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You can say it.
Yeah, the catching hell on fire.
Yeah.
Which it already was, but she just burnt.
More?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to give hell more fire.
She overcooked it.
I'm going to microwave it.
That's a burnt hell right there.
It's so stupid. She was like, if Bobby can freeze hell,
I can
set it on fire.
Yeah, like, yours is way easier than what he did.
Yeah.
And also, he's way stronger than you.
And how do you gauge that? How do you know what's your fire versus its already own fire?
I mean,
like,
it's like a slightly different color.
She just pretended. That's what she did.
Yeah, she just scorched her clothes and was like, I did it, you guys.
Yeah, it's on fire.
She just pretended. All right, anyway. Issue 3. We get Azazel. He's finally monologuing, telling his bad guy plan. And talking about, like, giving exposition for what this even all is. And so you learn that he's decided to take it upon himself to become the supreme ruler of all things afterlife. Just like, you know, being a pirate. And like, I'm gonna steal souls from heaven. I'm gonna steal souls from hell. I'm gonna steal souls from purgatory. Like, it's all mine. I'm just gonna reign supreme over all of the afterlife. And, you know, sail around and collect all the souls. And then it turns out, like, and he's talking about, like, our enemies will, like, tremble before us, and then there's a Bamf in the sky. And not, like, one of the creatures, but just, the teleportation thing happens. And it turns out to be Beast had gotten teleported in this location where Azazel and Caligula's ship is. And he starts clawing his way out from the frozen waters of, I forget what it's called. And he starts clawing his way up the side of the ship. And then he gets up and Azazel's like, all right, so obviously we're going to kill you. And he's like, oh, well, no. And he starts fighting Azazel and the pirates that are on that ship. Also, still says, like, he complains about coffee. Does that bug me?
Yeah, it's that's all he did.
He's still mad about that.
He doesn't care that
still, he's like so cold, and also coffee.
He still hasn't had his coffee. Don't talk to Beast before he's had his coffee.
I hate that as a joke.
Yeah,
I hate it. It is a
because
it's a dumb joke.
Dead
That's what that
horse.
is.
the reason the biggest reason is because the people who say that joke is their personality.
The personality is hack.
Yeah.
Oh.
Their whole personality is like, oh, you can't talk to me until I've had my coffee.
You should just treat them all like junkies then. Like, take it super serious.
I'll suck your dick.
We
with
just
some
lost
coffee.
all the coffee drinkers.
We're drinking coffee
We're
right
drinking
now.
coffee currently.
Yeah.
You can drink coffee and not be a bitch about it.
So, anyway, Beast starts fighting all the pirates that are on there, and he's actually doing a decent job until he gets stabbed in the back because Azazel can teleport, and Beast can't do that.
Which is some garbage. To be honest, Azazel should have stomped Beast much faster.
Yeah, but I mean, he's also fighting for his life, so I mean, you got to respect that Beast is still a powerful mutant. He's just
Yeah, but
as
against
a person,
teleporter.
terrible.
Like, wasn't there something where Nightcrawler from a different universe was just, or alternate reality was ridiculously strong because he didn't care about killing?
Yeah,
He could, like, teleport your head off your body.
the Apocalypse universe. He was in he was in Uncanny X-Force.
So here's Azazel, an evil Nightcrawler, basically.
Yeah,
I don't see how he's not just killing Beast instantly.
yeah. That's actually a really good point.
Well, one thing I want, and I realize I'm the only person who wants this, I want the story where Azazel has to fight Will.i.am to see who is the real father of Nightcrawler.
That's funny. Also, possible cinematically because they did both characters. They did
All three of them.
Was
Yeah.
Will.i.am Azazel?
No.
No, Will.i.am was a different teleporter. But he is Nightcrawler's dad in the Wolverine game.
Oh.
Will.i.am.
What was his code name?
Where I was.
Where I was being the a teleporter's name is actually pretty funny.
I'm gonna look up what his name was.
Where I was. That is a top notch joke, man.
Thank you.
It only gets better the more you think about it. But interesting enough, that evil version, or at least ruthless version of Nightcrawler, also was trying to kill Beast, but he was trying to kill Dark Beast.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a coincidence.
I was going to say, isn't everybody like want to kill Beast?
Yeah.
Whether they say it or not.
Yeah, but like that's the whole reason he stuck around, because Dark Beast, like they did a whole run in with the Apocalypse universe, and Dark
Yeah, I
Beast
do remember
stayed
that
in
now,
this
yeah.
universe, and he's like, I'm hunting that bitch down.
Will.i.am plays Kestrel, John Wraith.
Kestrel?
Yeah, John Wraith is his actual name, but his superhero name is Kestrel. Kestrel.
Never heard of him.
It's awful. Sometimes comics
He was
are stupid.
played by Will.i.am.
Sometimes comics are stupid. So, anyway, Beast gets stabbed in the back, and he falls into that same like super icy like death water again. And then Azazel's all like, "All right, Captain Caligula, you do you. I'm just gonna teleport to another ship and do whatever I want now." And you see Beast's hand start to crawl back up the ship. So like he's not
Which
dead,
was some
but
good dialogue right there too, as that happens. He's like talking smack, Captain Caligula. He says, "You're liable to wake the Beast in me." In the next panel, you show Beast's hand climbing up the ship.
yeah.
As like metal music starts playing,
That could be a album cover right there.
Beast crawling up.
Those two panels together.
Yeah.
Dude, what you learn later is like how the Bamfs are even created is probably the most metal thing. Like their origin.
That's the part where I thought was where this whole thing.
Yeah, it's
just turned
stupid,
into
sure,
crap.
but like when you say it out loud, what it is.
But like blood, yes.
All right, so anyway, Nightcrawler, he ends up teleporting to Captain Kidd's ship after all, and he saves Storm by fighting those demon pirates, and she gets free, and then they both basically take over the ship. But Captain Kidd's all like, "You guys aren't stopping me. I got 6 arms," and he keeps shooting. He's like, "Nothing's gonna."
I'll use every one of those arms to bitch smack you.
Too bad though, he only has 2 legs because just as he says, "Nothing's gonna knock me off this ship," the other ship, Captain Caligula's, crashes into his. Because who knew they were in the same location? And he just falls off his boat. Like, oh no. Turns out something's going to knock me off the ship.
But like, all right, let's say you're in hell. You're an evil dude in hell.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pick 3 people to draft your captains of your evil team. You're going to pick Caligula, Billy the Kid, and Jack the Ripper. I can kind of see Jack the Ripper. Billy the Kid hardly killed anybody.
I can't see. You know what? I would actually go opposite with you there. Billy the Kid, though, led a gang, and you're talking about a captain of a ship.
Yeah, but also I feel like
Jack the Ripper seems like a solo artist, you know?
Like, Billy the Kid, I think, was just kind of like a bad dude, but he wasn't, like, evil. Yeah, I mean, you got your Stalins, you got your Hitler. Like, you're not going to get them for your pirate team?
You see, but they would
You got literal pirates. You didn't get an actual fucking pirate?
They would want to be Azazel, though, right? Those guys, they try to take his place.
Caligula would too.
I mean, but did you see him? He looked pretty bitchy. Like, what is he gonna do to, like, because...
Are you saying he looks more bitchy than Hitler? Because Hitler was pretty bitchy.
But remember...
With that emo cut.
Like, and Jack the Ripper also probably kind of a diva, right? Being the solo artist that he is. Like, he'd want all the attention. So I don't know I would go with him for that reason. But he got transformed by Azazel. Like, they bring that up because Azazel's all like, maybe if you are good enough, I mean, not Azazel, Jack the Ripper brings it up to Wolverine and Northstar, that maybe Azazel will transform you guys too, make you captains. And then when he realizes they're friends of Nightcrawler, he's like, never mind. He's going to want you dead.
Billy's like, I got one wish. More arms.
Yeah, Billy the Kid, yeah, probably.
Fuck ton of arms.
More arms means more guns.
Exactly. Well, see, that's why he recruited Billy, because he can actually
3
do something.
Yeah, but then look at Caligula, and he's just sort of a sad dude with a beer gut.
I would have got for my evil team the guy who played Bane in the shitty Batman movie. Because that dude was huge.
So he was clearly in hell?
I mean, you can just grab him.
Against his will.
Yeah, just transform him. He would have been cool. I mean, there's other people that you could get. Macho Man Randy Savage. I mean, he's probably in heaven, but if you can get your hands on him, you take him.
Ooh.
Chris Benoit.
I was literally just thinking Chris Benoit. Because I was like, ooh, you know who is in hell.
You get Chris
going wrestler.
Chris Benoit, perfect person to put on your team.
Oh. How's this the one thing making me feel uncomfortable?
He was in the 4 Horsemen, so you know he can work. He could take orders.
I remember thinking, like, what a bunch of, like, the biggest group of just, like, crackers. The 4 Horsemen.
It was led by Ric Flair.
Oh, man. Just, and kind of doughy. The other 2.
Yeah, Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
But yeah, get Chris Benoit. How could we make this team better? All right, so we got Chris Benoit, definitely drafted on that team.
Okay. Oh, fuck. What's the one dude? The one dude who dressed up like the general, all like a general all the time.
Sergeant Slaughter.
No.
Are we still in wrestling? Because he's still alive.
That other dictator, he got killed brutally.
Oh, Gaddafi.
Gaddafi, yeah. Like I'm saying, Gaddafi replaces
up the butt.
He replaces Caligula, and then maybe his power is he's got a knife coming from his butt.
Oh,
shoots knives. That's an awesome. He's like Spike, but with knives and just the butthole.
Yeah.
All right, Justin. We need one more person for this team. We got Chris Benoit, Gaddafi.
Hey man, I already threw Chris Benoit. This is a tough one
It is
because I
pretty
feel like you need skills. You can't just pick a general. Like that's why I feel like Billy the Kid because he had some skills. Benoit put you in the crossface.
Oh yeah, he'll get you in the crossface. Sharpshooter, diving headbutt. You think he still does that? Hell.
So it's like a very tough
that is
little
as hell. He's
subset.
only allowed to do the diving headbutt.
You got to have skills and be a piece of shit. So that's hard.
Controversial, maybe. Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Oh shit! That high kick.
That high kick.
You would be too
Those
interested in
moonwalks.
Done.
Like you'd never be able to get him. He's just moonwalking away from you all the time, and you're like, how is he even moving?
You might be too interested in the Bamfs. We'll get back to this when we think of a third.
You know what? That's the reason why he wasn't picked.
Was the Bamfs?
Was the Bamfs. Azazel was like, hey man, I love your work. I'm thinking about like how would you feel? Hey, what are you doing to my kids?
Oh Jesus! Or at least he considered the Bamfs.
Yeah. He's like, even I'm not that evil. Mangala. Mangala's the last one. Can work in a team. Evil as fuck.
Okay. Just taking orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quotation. It's very hard. It's very important that we get the quotes apart on that. We make sure that those come across.
Yeah. Yeah, so it turns out Caligula's ship bumps into Billy the Kid's ship because Beast fucked them all up. You even have a pirate demon running off of that ship onto Billy the Kid's like, get him away from me. And it's like a feral beast. And they're like, oh no, we're going to have to fight feral beast.
All I can think about is if Chris Benoit got the extra powers from Azazel, he'd look like the monsters from Space Jam.
Yeah. The one that was Charles Barkley.
Yes. He would look just like that. Is this your man?
So anyway, issue 4, we see Wolverine kind of frozen as he's walking through snow, basically. Like it's just some like void area underneath heaven where he eventually had plummeted after falling off of the getting knocked off of Captain Stabby Pants' plank. And then you see
if it was Chris Benoit, he'd German suplex him off.
But then he'd also be down there, you know.
He does a diving headbutt.
But CTE, so he wouldn't have been thinking that well in the first place. That's why, you know what? What we're really doing is we're explaining why Azazel didn't pick these guys.
I'm just saying, Chris Benoit would have been. It could have worked.
He's like, I was gonna go with Chris Benoit. He's the crippler he's the crippler, but his brain.
He was already taken. That's what it was.
He's gonna like knock himself out. Like he's going to suplex someone off of his ship, and now he's stranded. Anyway, so this is where Wolverine and North Star, they're like in this area of like all snow. Like North Star crashes down. He's like, this is like my whatever time, like 20th time flying around, and there's nothing in any direction. And cut to hell, and this is when Firestar's like, well, if Iceman, because he's dying, could freeze hell, I can set it on fire.
And there was a guitar riff that played after that.
And then Beast is fighting Nightcrawler. So there's a lot of jumping around in this issue, where most of the issues were like kind of focused, at least for half of it, on one character.
I do like that she looks at a man made of ice and is like, he's melting. I gotta do something to save him.
More
I
fire.
know. Set everything on fucking fire.
Yeah. So Beast is fighting Nightcrawler now, like, because Nightcrawler's all like, he's my buddy, he's gonna be okay, and then like, oh, never mind, he's attacking me. And
Nightcrawler's reaction to Beast attacking him kind of reminds me of when Joe Exotic's being attacked by his tigers. And he's like, what are you doing? And you're like, come on, stop playing around.
he really was too calm about that.
Yeah, he's way too calm.
And it was so crazy, literally no one was helping. They were like waiting to watch a guy get eaten.
Yeah, they're really pulling a Storm.
Yeah, well, at least Storm's like, you know, this might have something to do with a sword in his back. And Nightcrawler's just like, there's no sword in a person's back.
He's my
that
buddy.
can stop friendship.
Yeah.
And I mean, it turns out, so flashback to...
It turns out it's because he didn't have his coffee yet.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We actually glossed over a big thing in the last issue. So when Nightcrawler is saving Storm and everything, there's like a moment of like romance between the two of them where he's like, remember when I wanted to fuck you?
Yeah, back from way before even like Kitty showed up, right when they were started giant
Yeah,
size.
it was like way before I met my sister. Speaking as Nightcrawler.
But if you listen to our Christmas episode, you know that Storm has a big room that's just like plants and stuff that she was staying in, and this shows you
an attic.
Yeah, the attic.
Yeah, the attic.
Thank you for specifying the room I was talking
This is, we actually, there was a large point of contention because I was like, how come she gets the whole attic? How come the attic is just Storm's attic? And this explains why.
Yeah, because Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Well,
they explained it before, but we read this first.
Yeah.
It's important that it's the attic because that's why she liked it. Those big windows, she can fly out, fly in, get the sun.
Yeah, but I think I was always mad that, like, how come they didn't just call it a greenhouse? How come they kept calling it the attic? But this sort of explains that literally it was just a room at the top of the mansion that was used for storage. And Storm was wanting to leave because she felt out of place.
He's like,
she wasn't being worshipped anymore.
What if I got you a shittier room? Would you want to stay?
And filled it full of plants. I mean, I know you're like, wasn't she from a desert, like this, or like the savannah, right? So it's more plains.
I mean, I think
barely plants.
It was a desert, but I mean, she.
Oh right, never mind.
She made it rain.
She made it rain.
That's why she's the goddess. Never mind. It tracks. Anyway, we forgot to mention that there was that like personal flashback between Storm and Nightcrawler in that issue. And in this issue,
happy National Horny Day.
Yeah. Speaking of horny days, so there's a flashback between Beast and Nightcrawler, and everyone's gonna go out, and Beast and Nightcrawler are like, "Oh no, we're gonna stay home." And Jean's like, "Are you sure? I mean, is it because of the way you look? Because you know you look like freaks? Because I mean, we love you. It's okay. You could come out." And they're like, "No, we just want to stay in." And then cut
Alone.
Yeah,
Just us two.
cut to they're in the danger room, and it's like they're playing obstacle chess. So like that's all it is. They're like doing circusy shit while moving chess pieces. And Beast wins, hits him in a checkmate. And like, what was the? Yeah, it was like if
The stakes.
if Nightcrawler won, yeah, the stakes of the game.
Yeah, if Nightcrawler won, Beast would have to go to church, and if Beast won, Nightcrawler would have to continue to do his laundry.
Yeah, and
Or do his laundry for a whole month.
Yeah, but he was
But all
already
Beast
doing
wears
it
is
for a whole month.
underwear. So
yeah,
he'll be fine.
yeah, I know. But like, do
He
you want to
changes
clean
though
that
like
underwear?
5 times a day.
Oh, jeez.
Some
Covered
gnarly
in
skid
fur.
marks.
Yeah.
He got a bunch of like dingleberries because
Well,
when he
you
shits,
know, the
it
hair.
gets caught in the hair. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess Beast was thinking of this, and then he says checkmate as he's squeezing him. And Nightcrawler's all like, "You're choking me," and he's like, "Oh, checkmate. Oh, right." And then at that same time, Storm pulls out the sword because that was probably a big part of it that Nightcrawler was ignoring.
That and the coffee.
Yeah, and then there's that whole like, "Oh, I love you, Kurt. You are alive." And then there's this whole like, well, not alive. Like Kurt's been saying that.
He kept
like,
saying
all
it.
Series like I'm dead. I'm
Well,
not
he
alive.
tells everybody right away when they ask him, like, "Oh, you're alive." He tells them, "Nope, still dead."
Yeah.
Except for Beast and Wolverine, he can't really tell them.
Well, because he's still choking. They do that joke.
Yeah.
Because like Beast
So
does
did-
know it's him, and he's like, I'm choking you.
Buddy.
Does it ever get explained? Because, he dies in the Hickman run, but he was immortal.
Yeah, I don't think they care anymore.
That's some bull.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean, they could have just made him like, because I mean, he's not going to heaven or anything, so maybe they made him like a new body already,
but then that's
and transferred his soul into
that's
it.
sort of the argument too, is that like, are any of them ever going to heaven because of the in the Hickman run?
Because they're mutants.
Because they're all just getting reborn all the time. Maybe Hickman's like, there are no such thing as souls, only the mind. So my logic tracks and everyone else's is dumb.
I don't know if he has, if he's thinking about this at all, but there is a run on Scarlet Spider-Man where they say that, because Scarlet Spider-Man, if you've ever read it, he comes back over and over and over and over and over fucking again.
Mm-hmm.
And they point out that, like, every time you come back, there's, like, a piece of your soul that's missing. So you start to become, like, a more shitty person. And he doesn't, that's why he's a bad guy in the clone books
Uh-huh.
that they did. So he had to have his soul restored to coming back to being a good guy. But they did set the precedence for when you die and you come back, it affects your soul.
That's interesting though. That like now I'm thinking like there's less of you here, but there's like an almost built version of you in heaven. So you're like there's like a body of yours walking around, but it's like missing like half a head and an arm because like you haven't died enough times, and every time you do die, more of your like afterlife person gets built.
Well, it's like the same.
I feel
thing
like that's just in Scarlet Spider.
Yeah, probably.
Because I've never. Obviously, X-Men people are dying all the time, and Hickman barely looks at X-Men history, let alone to be looking at anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Spider-Man. Scarlet Spider-Man has died a whole lot. Probably more than anybody else.
Because Jean would be straight evil too.
It's actually pronounced Jean.
Oh yeah.
So
And you
They
gotta say
gave
the full name,
Storm the
Secret.
cat eyes in this book, though. They did a close up and actually gave her the cat eyes, which is cool.
yeah. So cut to what's her face? Starfire. I almost called her Starfire. Firestar and Iceman. They are surrounded by a bunch of Bamfs, and they're like, "Huh? How did this happen? I was in the middle of trying to set hell on fire, and you know these little things showed up and showed me I was stupid."
I just noticed her costume is so tight you can see her belly button.
Oh, yeah.
That's just funny.
And Nightcrawler shows up, and he's like, "Hey, so I see you met my friends, my pals. They helped you out.
He's like, my kids.
My
Well,
babies.
brothers, yeah."
My baby boy.
And then that's when he sort of, because he explains what they are. He's like, "Well, they're my flesh and blood." And they're like, "What?" And then this is when you find out the origin of the Bamfs. So on National Horny Day too. This is fantastic. Like a queen maggot thing had a bunch of maggot babies with a changeling, a demon. Like fuck the hell maggot, basically is what happens, and then you get a bunch of maggot babies.
Haven't we all?
And then another demon, Azazel, pours his blood into the mouths of these maggot babies. Again, hell maggot babies. And then they all turn into little like demon versions of himself. And then he just sort of has him do his bidding.
So yeah, their blood just does anything, apparently. They just pour it on stuff and it does things.
Well, I just took it like that's sort of a blood pact between like I mean
he was feeding them.
I think the maggot thing is like
they were gonna die.
Yeah, well they're in hell. Like
Yeah, but
hell
it gets
doesn't
brought up
breed new
later
life
too.
that like is okay.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that it was a miracle that life was made in hell at all. Because it's hell, you know?
You
Hey,
wouldn't
they
say
do
that,
it too.
You wouldn't say that if you saw the nasty fucking that went on between those two creatures. You'd not be calling it a miracle. But did you guys notice the Bamfs though kind of look like if Damian Wayne cosplayed as Nightcrawler, but he was a baby?
Huh. I know, I never took that into account. I can see that.
I could see
I
it.
can see that a little bit. Anyway, so cut back to Wolverine and North Star in their weird, like, snowy area of the afterlife. And North Star's like, "All right, man, well, we're just going to keep walking forward, I guess, but I'm going to take another look around. Just don't fall." And he's like, right on. And North Star flies off,
yeah, sure.
and he immediately falls down.
Yeah.
And then he has his sort of flashback of Nightcrawler, and they're like in a bar, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to die alone." This is basically what it was. Like, Nightcrawler was like, "You don't want to have a family or nothing?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't see that happening for me." And he's like, "Yeah, but isn't it going to be like, you don't want to die alone. No one wants to die alone." Meanwhile, he's like dying alone. And then, sure enough, Nightcrawler shows up, and he's like, "Hey, man, you're not going to die alone. We got..."
That was little. Oh yeah, it is Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Well, it's a Bamf first, and then Nightcrawler.
Little
shows up
Bamf, yeah.
behind him.
They share a hug.
Yeah. He's like, "Get up, buddy. We got whiskey and people for you to stab." And he's like, "Whiskey?" And then he's up, he's like, "I'm just kidding. We don't have alcohol. But there are people to stab."
I don't know if I don't think you have, Devin. I don't know about you, Justin. But have you guys ever seen A Good Place?
A Good Place.
Yeah, or The Good Place.
No, I haven't.
No.
I've heard of it. I've
So
seen things.
there's like this robot. There's like all right. There's this chick who's like an entity who can provide everything for everybody, but like she's not a girl and she's not a robot. And everybody always calls her girl or robot.
Oh.
And so like it just reminds me of the way that Nightcrawler's like, they'll be like, "Oh, you're alive," and he's like, "Not alive." Because they're always like, "What's up, girl?" She's like, "Not a girl."
So issue 5, we're back at the the Jean Grey Institute, and you got like a line of red Bamfs and blue Bamfs fighting each other, and the red Bamfs are trying to cut off the portal, and the blue Bamfs are trying to keep it going, and you have the X-Men that are there also like fighting, and Warbird's like, who do I kill? And it's like, obviously the red ones. Like, you fight the red ones. Like, you're not that stupid. Why are you that stupid?
Just the way you were saying that, it reminded me of that Chris Rock joke.
Oh,
you got
Jesus.
2 types of Bamfs. There's red Bamfs and there's blue Bamfs. Ignorant ass blue Bamfs keep ruining it for the red Bamfs.
You got it wrong. It would have been the ignorant ass red Bamfs.
Hey, it all
versus the
depends
blue
on what way you're. But just the way you said that reminded me of the Chris Rock joke.
You know, I just noticed this because it's National Horny Day. You got a blue Bamf over here staring at Warbird's ass with literal heart eyes.
Yeah.
Is he?
I did not see that.
Yeah,
He
I
has
see it.
heart eyes just staring right at the cheeks.
Wow, that's fantastic. Anyway, the X-Men in the afterlife are also like, they're finally Nightcrawler has like his ship, like his crew that's gonna go after Azazel's, and they sail to Azazel and they all start fighting. And there's like a moment where Azazel calls Nightcrawler boy, and then that turns out to be a really big deal because they dedicate an entire 2-page splash page of the fight,
Yeah,
and just Nightcrawler teleporting with Azazel fighting him, saying, "I am not your boy."
I'm not your boy, bro.
I'm not your buddy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much what it was because he didn't say you're my boy. He just said boy.
Yeah. And not a lot, like this is like sort of the crescendo of the entire thing, so there's not a lot of story elements taking place. It's just a big fight between everybody.
Wolverine gets stabbed and isn't healing.
Exactly. Like, so Xavier's in their head telling them that the Archangels are coming, because that's the one thing is like, Azazel is actually afraid of the Archangels apparently, and like we never actually see an angel in this entire arc.
Not Archangel, just Archangels.
Yeah, like the
Yeah,
actual.
it's just a bunch of Warrens.
It's a bunch of
No, the actual Archangels of heaven, and we don't see any angels in this arc.
except
No.
the angel.
Warren.
Not Warren.
Right,
He's
except
just
for
angel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just
except for the one who's not a real angel.
So I like how Nightcrawler's giving orders to him, and they're all like, or a couple of them are dressed like pirates. Beast has a damn bandana on.
Yeah.
But he says, prepare to repel borders. And Wolverine stabs some dude. He's like, you just got repelled, bub.
I think one of them, was it Iceman who makes a comment too about like how, like, do we have a plan, or was the plan just like dress like pirates and charge?
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what their plan was. It's the same plan that Hickman has. Fucking swords. Everybody
Yeah, pretty much.
Everyone has a sword.
Some fucking swords.
Oh man, you mean like because of Corona, 10 of Swords is gonna get pushed, isn't it?
That's fine.
Oh man,
Yep.
I wanted to know what the deal of what was all those 10s of Swords about.
Well, you got it right here. Just fucking swords.
Like even
Everybody's
Iceman
got
making
it.
ice swords.
Yeah, he's got dual swords.
So
Wolverine says straight to Nightcrawler, always hated damn teleporters.
oh yeah,
Racist.
because yeah, Azazel, he teleports behind Wolverine and stabs him, and yeah, he just runs away. So really, they didn't achieve much of anything so far. Like, they're just fighting a bunch of demons, I guess, and I don't know. I mean, okay, so what happened? It's still confusing. This is one of the things that seems so stupid to me. So, Nightcrawler is like, hey man, shitty time for you to not have a healing factor, because lame, you just got stabbed. And then he goes off, probably because he was mad about the teleporters comment, now that I think back to it.
Oh, did you get stabbed?
Because he kind of just leaves him to die. But he's like, now, right? Like, sort of talking to the Bamfs. Because he explains early on, well, not so, like last issue, when he's explaining the Bamfs in general, that like he has his Bamfs because he promised them something. Whereas like his dad gave them his own blood to turn them. You know, he promised them something else to be on his side and help him with this whole thing. And that his...
And that just turned him blue and good, apparently.
that his whole plan was always to pull the X-Men into the afterlife to help him take out Azazel. So, like, this had been happening for a long time. like his war with Azazel has been the span of Wolverine and the X-Men. So this is like one of the things that was like confusing to me because like Wolverine and the X-Men had been on for so long, and it seemed like
'Cause they make it seem like
This
the
all happens
beginning
at
of the
once.
book happens right before all the X-Men.
yeah, you have to pay
it's
attention to the
actually been a
fact
while.
that it says some time ago in the upper left-hand corner that explains that whole first part, and so like this had always been a thing happening in the afterlife for like a year. Has been like this fight. So he says like now or something like that, and like all the Bamfs know, oh, this is the moment, and they they start a gross like Bamf Voltron thing going on on Earth where they start just forming a body. They just start merging together.
It looks like in Dragon Ball Z when they blow up Boo and they're like, "Oh, he's dead," and then he starts coming back together.
Yeah. And while that's happening, Nightcrawler in the afterlife like grabs Azazel and he throws him, I guess, through the vortex. Like the portal thing doesn't make a lot of sense because you never see the portal on the other side of the afterlife. But like they show the panel and they show that Azazel gets thrown through the portal, and then Nightcrawler's standing over him naked because it's the new body formed by the Bamfs.
Which is weird.
It is weird.
It's like, you guys think you could have used one or two more Bamfs for the dick? It's like it's like just a little shadows covering it. You can't see anything.
He's like, no, never mind. It's my power. It's my power.
It's
dark.
just it's how the Bamfs formed me.
It just looks invisible. It's dark. I'm in a shadow.
Yeah.
My body makes a natural shadow around my crotch, so my genitals always look invisible.
Oh, that is one of his powers.
Exactly. So I mean, it's deep. That's a deep cuts joke.
Justin's talking about exclusively for the dick. He's
Yeah.
saying what you're saying
Yeah.
is canon.
It's been retconned. Just dick now. So here's more of that
Dick is
stupid
shit.
blood stuff, though.
I know. So,
He cut.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you got it.
Well, I was.
Go ahead, Justin.
I was only gonna say how
I didn't know where I was even going. I was just going to rant about it because it bothered me.
Oh, because it bothers me too, because it makes no sense. So, like, all right. So his whole point, right, is that he needs to drag Azazel to Earth because Azazel's too powerful in the afterlife. Because Azazel's whole plan is to become God and the devil and to control everything. And so the only way to fix it is to get rid of him. So he's like, I'm gonna bring you to Earth. And so now they're there, but like then he stabs himself. Like Nightcrawler stabs himself with a sword that you don't see.
He doesn't
actually.
stab himself. He cuts his hand.
Oh yeah,
He's
either
not
way.
like through his appendix.
All right, either way, he cuts his hand. And there's blood dropping, but like there's a hiss and there's like smoke, but that's it. Like it's just a close up of his hand and blood dripping out, and then you don't see that tied to anything else on the page.
I assume because he does say he banished Azazel so he can't go back to the afterlife. He's stuck on Earth. So I'm assuming it's some kind of blood spell that's sticking him to Earth.
But how? All he did was drop his blood on it.
Magic.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He says, I used his own blood magic to cut him off from his armies to bind him to the earth forever. It's like, how? When are you a damn wizard, Nightcrawler?
Yeah.
He had a lot of time in the afterlife. He was just sitting there looking at everything. Maybe he was watching Doctor Strange.
It's fucking weird.
The person, not the movie.
But why would that stop Azazel from dying and going back to the afterlife and then doing it all over again?
Magic.
Yeah,
You'll have to
nothing was
explain
explained.
magic.
Whatever.
It's fucking magic.
So Wolverine, like everyone gets brought back and they close the portal.
Except for one guy.
Huh?
Xavier looks so pissed.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they forgot about it. He's like, wait, you guys, I'm running. It's closed.
Everybody just left him there.
There's no children here.
Damn, Michael Jackson got to all of them first.
Because he helped them and they don't even like bring him up.
Yeah, well,
Wolverine
actually,
completely forgot about it.
it's interesting too because Nightcrawler, he's speaking to Nightcrawler at the end there, saying that the Archangels are coming. It's not his fight. He doesn't need to do what he's about to do. And then he does it anyway. He's like, because I have to take care of Azazel. It's my responsibility. And he does say too when they're on Earth, like the Earth is his prison and I'm his jailer. But also, he's just now free to do terrible things on Earth. Like you're not gonna keep what? Come on, man.
Blood magic.
Well, it's because
Nightcrawler's dope, but he's not that dope that he's always gonna have one dude.
well, it's because
under control all
he
the
knows
time.
that Azazel will go to Earth and cause shit. but it wasn't about stopping him from doing evil things. It was about cutting off his source of power.
Yeah.
Because he was
apparently too
literally
powerful.
becoming God and the devil in the afterlife.
Yeah.
So he was stopping him from having like political power.
But you know how?
Blood.
No, I mean, no. I'm not saying how is he on Earth. I'm saying how, like, because it still doesn't make sense that Azazel was conquering the afterlife. Like, that's part of the premise of all this that's so dumb, that Azazel...
There's like 15 afterlives.
Was conquering the afterlife. I mean, like, all of it. He was conquering all of the afterlife. Like, that was his...
just heaven and hell. He wasn't conquering, like, Dormammu's plane. And
yeah, but he was working on it.
All the, he picked, like, a really small subsection.
Those were the heaven and hell where, like, nobody really cared about. There's nobody in power.
Yeah.
There. So he was
it was vacant.
He just took the throne because, like, Mephisto's in, like, the crazy
Maybe
zone.
that's part of why Nightcrawler was, like, bummed out about it. Like, man, it's not even a cool heaven.
I think there's
like
way
block.
more hells in Marvel than there's heaven.
Yeah, so anyway...
there's this one, and then there's the one where it's just a writing room with Jack Kirby.
Nightcrawler is brooding on the roof, and Wolverine comes up to try to cheer him up, and he's like, yeah, so I got healed, you know, mutant medicine, basically magic, you know.
But how?
Blood.
He actually probably did get a blood transfusion.
He probably did get a blood transfusion. And he's like, so Azazel fed them blood. What did you give them to trade for your new body and all this stuff? And he's like, you know what? Absolutely nothing. And
Philly cheesesteak.
I gave him a coupon for Burger King.
And it turns out what he actually did was sell his soul to them. Yep.
That makes sense.
And
well, all he had was his soul.
Yeah.
It's the only thing he had to offer up.
And
a little piece for you, little piece for you.
It's crazy, right? Because there were so many Bamfs.
Yeah.
He just had to shatter it, spread it apart. What's weird to me is they used enough medicine on Wolverine to heal him, right?
Yeah.
So his cut where he got stabbed through the stomach is healed, but he has to have Band-Aids on the tiny little cuts on his face.
Yeah.
It's just to look cool.
It's just to show you he's been through some stuff.
Was he fucking Nelly?
He did do that. Just had random Band-Aids. Anyway, he it goes back to the internal like thought boxes, and it's the opposite. He's pining for the fact that he had paradise and he didn't appreciate it when he had it, and now he can never have it again. So, you know, sort of the end for Nightcrawler.
Make up your damn mind.
Yeah. But yeah, this leads to him being sort of immortal because he can't go to the afterlife and
he got kicked out.
Weird stuff. Well, he jumped, remember?
Oh, yeah. But now it's like every time he shows up, the bouncer doesn't let him in.
Yeah. He's like, I don't remember you.
Well, because he doesn't have a soul now. That's why he can't go back.
I'm just thinking of like St. Peter now as like a buff dude in a black t-shirt with glasses on.
He's letting all the hot girls in first.
I like too the idea that like it's he keeps on like telling him like, no, you can come in, and then every time Nightcrawler tries to walk in, he's like like stepping in front of him, like where you go,
like pulling the Stewie.
Yeah.
Stewie got buff. He's got one of those like security earpieces in too.
Yeah.
And instead of like the big book you always see him supposedly having, he's just got a clipboard.
Yeah, it's a list.
It's like Nightcrawler just left the gates, and he's like, yo, you got me, right? Like, you see, like, yeah. And he comes back.
You
he's
should
like,
draw this.
He goes to come back in, and he's like, whoa. Where are you going? He's like, you just saw me. He's like, I see you.
Please, for the love of God, draw this so we can put it on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, sure.
It's like the shirt's way too tight because he's so buff.
So ripped. But he's still wearing sandals?
Yeah, just a black shirt that says security and white on.
Yeah, but it's like, it's heaven, so he's still wearing sandals.
Yeah.
Dude's looking like Heihachi now.
So yeah, that's it for this first arc of Amazing X-Men, and only arc that we're covering. But yeah, it was better than I remembered it being. Just there, you think back to some parts and you're like, oh, well, that was dumb.
Yeah, or if you're just
the whole blood stuff, I could have dealt without all that.
Yeah, and I was talking to Tony about this before we were recording. Like, I don't understand. Like, it always bugs me when people bring up souls and don't explain why they're valuable, why they're needed. Like, Azazel was on this big hunt to collect souls, but, like, for what?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I don't want to diss Jason Aaron, but creating stuff
Yeah,
of
be
his
careful,
own,
'cause
like
he's
his own
listening.
ideas, that they just weren't that great.
Really?
Some people just do better creating stuff than they do like working with other people's stuff.
I mean, I liked a lot of his Wolverine and the X-Men stuff.
Well, yeah, I like that too, but what did he actually create in there?
I mean, he basically created the whole Quentin Quire Wolverine relationship.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like a Bamf is a new character.
So you just hate Bamfs?
So you're hating him? You're hating on him because
No,
of the Bamf?
like,
He made Bamf.
Somebody, it seems very easy to make a better origin story than the one he made for Bamf.
You made Jane Foster Thor.
He said, "What good things did he do, man?"
Have you not read any of that?
I know.
You're just.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm just
you
hating
just
on
have
him.
the
No, I haven't read enough of his
sheeple.
stuff to know, but
You.
I just
I don't
feels like
remotely care
anything.
about Thor. I don't care that he did that.
But it's like one of the interesting things that happened with Thor.
I wasn't hating on like the progressiveness of the era when they were like, okay, Captain America's gonna be black and Thor's gonna be a woman. It's like, all right.
I kind of prefer Sam as Captain America over Steve. At
Well,
least
I mean,
he's
yeah,
not racist.
Steve's a racist.
Yeah.
But I don't like. It just seems so clunky. The whole like the Bamfs are gonna form together and create a Megazord that is Kurt.
It's
Like-
5 small
Yeah,
Bamfs
that makes
that
zero
come together to
sense.
form one giant Bamf.
Yeah.
pouring blood in a maggot's mouth to make red Bamfs.
No, that
and then you
that makes sense because they were the byproduct of a demon shapeshifter and maggot, a maggot.
yeah, but then a Philly cheesesteak turns them blue. This makes no sense.
I like how
you made the
fully
Philly
sold
cheesesteak.
on that.
You're referencing yourself. Like
That's canon.
he promised them his soul. Is
They
what
offered
he did.
him a cannon.
But still, though. Oh, your soul? All right, I
You know
guess
what?
I'm blue.
Lots of cannons in this book.
Oh yeah, we didn't even mention that guy was
Ship
like
cannons.
monologuing and his cannon got turned around on him and
He was
shot him.
like, I was having such a good day.
yeah.
No.
My stimulus check just came through. Oh, but yeah, that was this issue of Mex-Men, our social media. You should go check those out.
Yeah, and we got shirts on sale. Buy
Yeah.
those. I mean, if you have money left.
Yeah, your stimulus check. You got the stimulus check.
Yeah, don't spend that on rent or
Yeah.
bills. Buy our merch.
Yeah, make sure to check out our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Everything is at Mex-Men Podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, what is your favorite thing that we have at our TeePublic?
You know, I don't know. I'm torn between the onesie or the tapestry.
Yeah, so
Get a tote bag, actually.
even if you just went and looked, you don't have to buy anything. Just look at the stuff. They're cool. Tell your friends. Share the podcast with your friends. Subscribe to the podcast on everything.
Yes, please.
On everything.
You guys are playing off me so well right now.
Yeah, you know it.
Yes, and
You should get a bunch of... Wait, is there stickers? Yeah, get some stickers
some
and put them
stickers.
around like on stop signs in people's cars.
yeah, get real hood with it.
Yeah, do all that stuff, but we didn't tell you to do it.
Oh yeah, the link for everything is in the show notes. So go into there and click them, and that's for today.